Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. It snowed too hard for Tim McGee to go outside and play on Saturday morning. He put his favorite Batman movie on and curled up on the couch with a blanket around him. He was wearing a gray running suit and suntan nylons, which were warmer than long underwear for his legs. When the movie was over, he got up from the couch and went to turn the TV off. Just then, his mom walked into the living room. She looked at him once and sighed. "What am I going to do with you, Tim?" "What do you mean?" Tim asked as he turned around and saw himself sitting back on his rubber shoes. "Oh, your dad was smart to leave for work before the snow blocked the roads," Mrs. McGee said as she walked over and gave him a hug. "I understand, dear. It's okay. We'll work something out with him. You are my son or my daughter, but I will always love you." "Thank you," Tim said, sniffling. Because they were best friends, she was the only one he told his secret to. "You always say things that make me feel good about myself. You've let me be who I was meant to be." He looked up with tears still in his eyes. "I hope this is the best Christmas ever. That dad will come around to understanding as well." "It would be the best Christmas present ever if he did, wouldn't it?" Mrs. McGee smiled as she looked down at him. "What do you want to call yourself?" "Tammy," Tim choked out. "If it doesn't sound too old school." "It sounds great," Mrs. McGee smiled as she showed Tim how to use the computer. "I found this website that could help me make the best Christmas present ever. Oh, NextMex Ltd. is the name of the business. They say they can make you look like a real girl without surgery." "I've never heard of it, even though I use the internet a lot," said Tim as he looked at a print ad for the company. "It's not too old," his mother went on. "I talked to a saleswoman named Paula, who is both an employee and a customer. Now, Tammy, I have a Christmas present ready for you on my bed. While I finish my lunch, why don't you go up and change?" Tammy went upstairs to his mom's room and saw that she had put out underwear and a bra. They went with a pretty shirt and a flowery skirt that she put on. Then she practiced walking in shoes with a 1-inch heel. To train shoes, you could say. As Tammy walked slowly in her shoes, she made sure to hold on to the handrails so she wouldn't get dizzy and fall down the stairs. Her mother had the cookie shapes and everything else she needed to make Christmas cookies out when she got to the kitchen. Mrs. McGee was already wearing an apron when she helped her daughter put on her own. The rest of the afternoon, the new mom and daughter worked together to make 3 tons of Christmas cookies. 2 were to be eaten right away, and the 3rd was to be hung on the Christmas tree until Monday, when they opened their presents. Just as Tammy looked out the window, her dad pulled into the driveway. They were done with the last batch. In her new shoes, Tammy knew she wouldn't be able to run up to her room. With a whistle, Mr. McGee walked into the house and put his hat on the hat rack and his umbrella on the umbrella stand. He walked in with a sudden stop, pulling the evening paper under his arm as he smelled the baked cookies. "Is Tim home?" "Tim is not at home," Mrs. McGee spoke as Tammy peeked out from behind her mother. "But Tammy, our daughter, is. Now go outside and say hello to your dad, little girl." She walked outside and stared at his mean face. He didn't say anything for a moment. After clearing his throat, he said, "So you told Tim about his Christmas present, huh? He'll have to live with it for the rest of his life, so I hope she likes it." While dinner is being made, Tammy's father went into the room to read the paper. She began to cry into her mother's shirt. Her mom gave her a tight hug. "Shh," her mom told her. "Everything will be fine when he comes around." Tammy only smiled at her mom, who wiped her tears away. At that moment, she felt closer to her mother than any other time. She couldn't help but think about what would happen next. Being asked to go to the senior prom or marrying a good-looking doctor like the one she saw in her dreams. There was strange silence during dinner, and Tammy couldn't wait to go to bed. Things got a lot better as the next day went on. While Mr. McGee was at work, Tammy was getting used to walking in shoes. When a UPS truck pulled up in front of Mrs. McGee's house, she went to sign for a package and had it brought to her. She knew what the address meant as soon as she saw it. She opened the package and dumped the contents on the kitchen counter with the joy of a child opening her first Christmas present, which she pretty much was. It came with a big spray bottle that said Nex-Mex Nanite Formula and a book with steps to follow. Mrs. McGee read the book aloud while Tammy looked at the bottle. "Be careful, the mixture you ordered will last forever. Nex-Mex Limited." "We're not having second thoughts, are we?" Mrs. McGee asked as Tammy read the warning again. She only nodded to her mother to let her know she was ready to go ahead with the plan. So that she could do what her mother told her to do, she gave the instruction book back to her. "All right then." Mrs. McGee smiled and went back to reading. "Step 1 is to take everything off and make sure you're in a warm place." When Tammy's mother checked the thermostat, she was ready for the second step. "The second step is to spray the nanites all over the body of the subject," said Mrs. McGee as Tammy froze into a mannequin pose and her mother moved around her to get every inch. As her mother kept going around her, Tammy started to feel dizzy. Mrs. McGee put a full-length mirror in front of Tammy when she was done spraying so she could see how she had changed. She was amazed as her upper body grew, her waist shrunk, and her hips got bigger. Then she felt something tickle the back of her neck. By accident, she moved her long hair out of her face with her hand. She turned around to look at herself from every angle and blushed when she saw herself in the mirror. There was now no sign of Tim at all. Tammy was the only one left. 2 pairs of blue shorts and a gray t-shirt that was too cramped on. She put on a pair of flip-flops with pink toes and borrowed her mom's bag to go shopping for something special to wear to Christmas Mass. Once Mr. McGee got home from work and saw his daughter, he sighed because he knew it was over. He felt like he let down his son, but he still loved his daughter. He put out his hands and hugged his daughter as he thought that. On Christmas morning, Tammy put on a white dress and shoes that matched. The sandals had straps across the top of his nylon-covered feet. Her mother wore shoes and a blue dress that matched. She didn't wear nylons. Tammy learned what it was like to sit for a long time in a dress for the first time at Mass. People who went to church with Tammy, her parents, and grandparents opened their gifts around the tree when they got home. She was pleased with her new makeup kit and many other things that went with her new girly clothes. Tammy had always wanted her life to be this way. Until Christmas dinner time, that is. When Tammy just fell over in pain, she was loving the ham, potatoes, peas, and eggnog. Cramps in the stomach that went away quickly. She would soon be getting her first period. She didn't think she'd be so close to them so soon. "Try to see the good side. Thank you, Mom." Tammy smiled as she put on a white tank top, blue pants with belts, brown leather boots with a mid-heel, and a jacket that matched. "Thank you for the clothes." Tammy learned what most women learn over the course of their lives during their childhood over the course of her Christmas break. Even though she was at the mall, she seemed to easily flirt with the guys. In the meantime, Mrs. McGee set up for her to go to a different school so that she could start over. When she went back to school, Tammy was the most beautiful and graceful person in the world. The girl next to her locker, Jill, became her friend right away. Tammy agreed right away when she was asked to go to a sleepover. Jill met Tammy at the door in her nightgown and let her in when she came in with her stuff. "Good morning, Tammy. Please meet Betty, Angelica, and Allie. I've known them since elementary school." "Hey there." She turned red as she put her sleeping bag next to the others. The girls were sitting in a circle on the floor so they could talk to each other face to face. Jill's mom brought them snacks and then left them to talk about the cute guy. "How was your first day of school?" Allie asked her. "Good enough, especially when they see how cute Bruce McCoy is." The girls all laughed out loud. Tammy had always heard that girls could be themselves at sleep parties. She wasn't going to tell them that she used to be a boy named Tim or that she was still getting used to being a woman and all the things that came with it. When Tammy was with a group of girls having a chat, she had never felt more at ease. It was really fun for the girls once they were done asking the new girl questions and getting all the answers Tammy was ready to give them. First, they played Truth or Dare. The game of Truth or Dare started with giggles. As my turn approached, I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Being new to these experiences, I was unsure what to expect, but I wanted to fit in and enjoy the moment. "Tammy, truth or dare?" Jill asked, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Dare," I replied, a little braver than I felt. Jill grinned. "I dare you to tell us about your first crush." I blushed, feeling my heart race. This was a delicate topic, considering my past as Tim. I decided to be honest, but not too revealing. "Well, there was this boy in my old school. He had the most amazing smile and was always kind to everyone." The girls cooed and prodded for more details, but I skillfully steered the conversation to safer topics. As the game progressed, I found myself laughing more freely, feeling a sense of belonging I hadn't experienced before. After the game, the girls decided to do each other's nails. Tammy watched closely as Jill demonstrated how to apply nail polish neatly. Her hands were a bit shaky at first, but with Jill's guidance, she managed to paint her nails a sparkling pink. The other girls chose different colors, and soon they were all showing off their freshly painted nails, comparing and complimenting each other's choices. Next up was hairstyling. Tammy's long hair, a new feature she was still getting used to, was a hit among the girls. They took turns braiding it, trying different styles. French braids, fishtails, and even attempted a Dutch braid. Each girl had her hair done in a different style, and they took turns posing for selfies, capturing the fun moments of the night. As the night grew later, the girls settled down with snacks and started watching a romantic comedy. Tammy found herself engrossed in the story, feeling a connection with the characters she hadn't felt before. She laughed and sighed along with her new friends, enjoying the shared experience. During a quiet moment in the movie, Jill whispered to Tammy, "You seem really happy. I'm glad you're here with us." Tammy smiled, feeling a warm glow inside. She was happy, truly happy, in a way she hadn't been before. After the movie, they all shared stories and secrets in the dark, lying in their sleeping bags. Tammy listened more than she spoke, fascinated by the different experiences and emotions the girls shared. She felt a sense of wonder at how much she had in common with them, yet also how much she had to learn. Eventually, they all drifted off to sleep, a tangle of sleeping bags and dreams. Tammy lay awake for a while. She had come a long way from being Tim. The next morning, the girls had breakfast together, laughing and chatting about the night before. She said goodbye to her new friends. She realized she was looking forward to school more than she ever had before. Back at home, Tammy's mother greeted her with a smile and a hug. "How was the sleepover?" she asked. "It was amazing, Mom," Tammy replied, her eyes shining. "I made some great friends. I feel like I'm really starting to find my place." Her mother smiled. "I'm so proud of you, Tammy." Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.